Hi, my name is Stephanie and I'm autistic, and that's not a joke. So a quick thank you to my patrons for voting on what you would like to see, and of course for my viewers as well as my patrons for suggesting ideas such as this one. Have you heard someone say something about autistic screeching or something being literal autism? Now, I don't really hang around people who say those sorts of things, but I know about a year or two ago, it was pretty common to see toxic things being compared to autism and to cancer as if they were interchangeable, like certain ideas and ideologies and the people behind them were literal cancer or literal autism. Now again, I get that this is not everybody, and I also get that times change and people say weird stuff, but it is kind of interesting to me that people were so comfortable, or possibly even still are, interchanging autism and cancer as if somehow they are equal, whereas cancer is something that destroys parts of your body and breaks down your tissue and causes a lot of pain and grief for families who, whether the person going through it or their family who is experiencing watching a family member go through this kind of thing and possibly meeting an early end to their life, somehow that gets equated with autism. Whereas autism is a neurological disorder where we have a brain that works differently, and yes, it's a disability, but it's not destroying people's lives, it's not killing people, it's not causing tragedy in people's lives, and the sad thing is, I think a lot of people feel like it is, and I suppose we can thank our lovely Autism Speaks and related people who push that tragedy narrative because, you know, tragedy, big scary boogeymen like autism sell and get donations. I've noticed that using this as an insult tends to be synonymous with other intelligence-based insults. Now, some autistic people are totally fine with joking about autism, and they make light of it, say, oh my goodness, that was so autistic. But it's kind of different when someone who is autistic makes that kind of joke, when someone who isn't basically saying, I think that you are a terrible tragedy to the world. And that's really the connotation for using autism or autistic as an insult. It's usually either you're socially inept, you're stupid, you amount to nothing, you're barbaric, all these sorts of things that is really frustrating to have attached to autism, and is really one of those things where I don't understand why people would fake being autistic because of this kind of mainstream thought. And of course, people on TikTok have been making jokes about the autistic people in their classroom and just a lot of very insensitive things about autistic people, people with Down syndrome, etc., other disabilities, and it's just not, it's not cute. It's really not. And I get it, a lot of people are like, oh my gosh, you're so sensitive, you're being such a snowflake. And really, normally I'm not the kind of person who gets offended over everything. However, I do take a lot of things seriously that other people might not. So while that sounds very similar, it's actually not. There's quite a few things that I think people in the same community with me take offense to very quickly, but I don't. But this is just one of those areas I don't think is funny, because you are boiling a person down to a diagnosis that you assume is terrible and comparable to cancer. And then people making jokes about autistic screeching really upset me because of what you're actually saying. Because while you might not necessarily be making fun of me, someone who seems to function well in society, you probably won't notice me. I don't exist, okay? If you do notice me, you might be like, are you tweaking or something? Because some people assume that I take things because of my stimming, because they're not familiar with it, and it's also confusing to them because they assume people who openly stim are also intellectually disabled and don't understand why I can hold a conversation with them. There's just a lot of things people don't understand. But while you might not be making fun of me, or you might, who knows, I imagine you're more likely to be making fun of those like me who need a lot more support, who can't express their thoughts and their feelings and their needs and their wants except for by whatever means they have. A lot of times that screeching happens during meltdowns, which of course the public likes to view as just snotty, obnoxious children throwing fits, but what's really happening is an intense overwhelm of the senses and feelings and frustration, and just the body and the mind are just noping out. They're done. And that is an extremely, extremely vulnerable point for a person to be in. So that you think that it is appropriate to make fun and trivialize someone's most vulnerable moment as a joke to demean people or demean people's arguments is gross to me. I get it. Most people don't really look into the kinds of things they say. If they constantly hear someone saying that, they're like, ha ha ha, that's literal autism. You know, when I was younger, we commonly used words about people's intelligence, things that a lot of people are not okay with saying now, because that's just what everybody did. That's just what you said. We didn't understand the weight of our words. We didn't understand that to someone who actually was intellectually disabled, that would be extremely rude to be like, haha, you're like them. Wouldn't that be horrible? So I get it, but it's just weird to me that there's a very specific diagnosis that people are using as an insult. And I do wonder if that is in part due to YouTube. I've run across where there are videos of out of control autistic people, boy with autism, out of control, meltdown, screaming, public meltdown, blah, 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 all the buzzwords that for some reason a lot of people have a morbid curiosity and want to see. And if you go into those comment sections, people think it's totally appropriate to share how if they were that autistic person, that they would want someone else to end their existence for them. And that to me is not okay to say. But I get it, that is your perspective. But this is the mentality where these comment sections and these people sharing these videos think it's appropriate to say that autistic people who are constantly misunderstood, constantly mistreated, constantly deprived of things that would help them to communicate, deprived because the people around them either don't understand or are exhausted, don't know what to do, are taught the wrong things by people, get that same attitude that these people are just feral, awful human beings existing to harm them. And they're constantly in a place of frustration and overwhelm, and no one can connect properly with them for whatever the reason. And people are looking at that and looking at their worst moments highlighted in a video and think it's okay to make fun of it, to say that, oh my gosh, like, I'm so glad I'm not like that. I'm so sorry for the family. They should just get rid of that person. If I was like that, I'd want to be getting rid of. That kind of making that okay, I think breeds this weird idea that it is okay to take that very specific diagnosis and use it as an insult. I don't get it. Usually the insults that I was familiar with were broad and generalized. They were not nice, but I don't know. I don't understand why specifically autism was picked out. Again, there are gonna be some people who are like, you're taking it too seriously. Yeah, I take things seriously sometimes. And I try to give room to people because I know that not everyone understands the weight of their words. I know that some people are like, oh my gosh, everybody uses it, it's just funny. Well, but like, it's not funny to me. If I took a video of you in your worst moment where you were just having a meltdown, whether that's an autistic meltdown or just a meltdown. You're stressed out, everything's going wrong for you, you can't even function, you can't speak right because your brain's just exploding with all sorts of weird things, you haven't slept, you're just in this terrible position, you've gotten some bad news, you're super stressed, and you just can't anymore. And you're screaming and you're crying because you just have nothing left. That's a lot like what a meltdown feels like for someone. So, if I were to take that video of you and make it a joke when I didn't like what someone said because I thought they were too easily offended, would you think it was funny? That's what I want to know. Would you think it was funny if someone took one of your most vulnerable moments in your life and was like, oh my gosh, this person over here's whining about something, so they're just like you in that situation? I don't think you'd find it funny. And that's why I don't find it funny. I don't know. I think I'm gonna stop here because I am frustrated. Again, I never support people being hateful to people. I get it. Again, some people just say things because they're ignorant, and that's okay. But this is why I just really don't like it as a joke. I just don't. So yeah. Again, autistic people, if you feel like making jokes about your own autisticness or think that someone might receive that well, I get it. I'm just saying my thoughts on it. Honestly, I don't know what people anticipated me to say about this when they suggested it or when they voted on it, so I apologize if it disappointed you, but yeah, I don't enjoy it at all. So I'm gonna stop now because I know I'm gonna get on a rant and be too emotional. Anyway, thank you for watching today's video. If you found it interesting, informative, or whatever, go ahead and give me a like. And let me know your thoughts in the comments below. How do you feel about autism as an insult? Do you feel that there was a specific way that autism somehow became like cancer in some people's eyes? Do you still see people using this? Do you use it? Does it offend you, or are you okay with it? Do you feel that it's a lot more lighthearted than I'm taking it? I just want to hear all your opinions and just be respectful of each other. If you're interested in autism-related content, I try to upload to this channel every Thursday at 4 p.m. Central Standard Time, so be sure to hit that subscribe button. I hope that you're having a wonderful week, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!